Welcome to this episode of Qaked. My name is Asma and today we are making a Moana cake. I thought Moana was an incredible movie and I'm so excited to show you how to make this two-tiered cake with an awesome ISOMALT wave. It's now April and it's spring and the sun is shining, except that it's not actually in Toronto, and it's cold and one day it's 20 degrees and the next day it's 0 degrees and it's snowing. So I'm just going to have to pretend that I'm with Moana on the Polynesian Islands until Toronto, you can get your act together. To start, I have made 4 7-inch chocolate cakes and 3 6-inch vanilla cakes. I then leveled each cake and simple syruped each one. Simple syrup is just 1 part water, 1 part sugar, boiled and cooled completely, and then poured onto each cake just to keep the moisture in while you're decorating, which can take a long time sometimes. I then made 3 batches of vanilla American buttercream and colored them so that the bottom tier looks like it's part of the water and the top tier looks like it's a sunset. I made dark blue, blue, light blue, white, yellow, orange, and a magenta-y red. I then put each color in a piping bag with a round tip. Warning, too much food coloring will definitely change the taste of your buttercream and will also change your teeth and have different colors. Next, I filled the cakes with a thin layer of buttercream, crumb coated them, and put them in the fridge to cool. It's time to ice our cakes. Because these cakes are not getting any fondant, it's really important for the buttercream to have straight edges. To do this, I placed a 7-inch board to match the size of our cake at the top of the cake and made sure this was placed directly in the middle. I used this board as a guide to make sure that my sides are completely straight. To make the cake show multiple colors, I piped 2 rows of each color around the cake until I reached the top. I then took my bench scraper and used my lazy Susan to help, and just swept around the cake, taking off the excess each time so that you don't mix the colors together. Once it's perfectly smooth around, do the other cake and put them back in the fridge to cool. I took my cakes out of the fridge and with a sharp knife, I put the knife in a glass of hot water and wiped away the water. Then go right under the top of the board and cut all around the edges, all the way around the cake, under the board until the board comes right off. Just fill in the top of the cake with icing as neatly and flat as possible. You can put these cakes back in the fridge for a few minutes for the tops to harden. Wig time! This was my absolute favorite part about making this cake. I'm not really a professional baker. I started this off as a hobby, so every single cake that I make, I learn something new. And when I learned how to use these ISOMALT nibs, my mind was blown. It was so much fun to use and it turned out pretty awesome. To get this wave technique was actually so simple to do. ISOMALT nibs actually come pre-packaged like this, and this one's by Qaked and it comes in all sorts of colors, which was perfect for me because I got blue for the water. All you have to do is pour these into a container. I used a silicone container because they are microwavable and are easy to pour out right after without burning your hands. I set up my station with a silicone mat. You can also use parchment paper, and I put something round underneath to make the shape of the wave. I opted to make a giant wave, so I'm using styrofoam cake dummies underneath. Put these in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time until they are almost bubbling. I then let it cool slightly until the bubbles come to the top so that it's a little bit easier to work with. Onto your mat and spread it around with a paintbrush to make the shape that you want. Because I wanted a big wave, I made mine cover almost the whole sheet. I made a few small ones also. After a few minutes, you may be able to maneuver the ISOMALT into whatever shape that you want with your hands. Just be really careful and make sure that it cools down a little bit before you touch it. Once you're happy with the shape, leave it to dry for about 15 minutes. these Moana toys from the Disney store, and she has got to be the cutest Disney character I've ever seen. Actually, Baby Dory was pretty cute too, but look at her face. To add to the Moana toys, I wanted to make little fish and seashells to go into the background of the wave because the ISOMALT is actually a bit transparent. I got these two molds from Bulk Barn. One has seashells and one has fish and turtles. What you have to do is fill the mold with melted candy melts in whatever colors you desire and put them in the fridge to dry. It's so cute, I just want to put it in my pocket. Actually, you know what? Here, why don't you sit down? Are you ready to go on the cake? Can you help me, okay? Back to the cakes! Now it's time to layer our cakes. I use bubble tea straws, which are perfect for support between your cakes. They are much easier to cut than dowels and are much cheaper. Put the straws to the height of the cake and place them around the cake to make sure they are within the size of the cake that will be on top. Make sure there's enough support underneath. Trust me, you do not want these cakes caving in. It's happened before. Place the cake on the presentation board and then place a smaller cake on top very gently. There's no fondant on these cakes, so you don't want your fingerprints all over the cake. If it happens, just wipe them off carefully. Crush up some cookies as sand and put them all around the cake and on the second layer to add some texture. Now it's time to take out the fish and seashells from your mold and place them on the cake wherever you'd like on the water, with a little bit of icing. Now we take our wave and very gently, without breaking it, place the wave on the cake with a little bit of icing. And then put on all of our toys. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't seen my last video, click here, I think, to watch it. Thanks for watching.